Garrett Nussmeier. I think that is got to be the thing that you walk away from the spring game. We got lots to talk about, though. Lots to break down here. LSU had their official spring game today. In case you miss it, you're just watching the postgame show. We got tons and tons to talk about. We will break this game down in fully. Every postgame show is brought to you by our good friends over at The Athletic Collection. All of your LSU stuff, apparel, stickers, posters, and shirts, they will get it to you. Go over to the Athletic Collection. Use that promo code AYS to get 20% off your order. Also, by our good friends over at betonline.ag. Use that promo code BELIEVE50 UFC 300 tonight. You can go over to BetOnline and use that promo code. 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit if you use it. BELIEVE50, BLEAV50. That way that they know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. We appreciate all of our sponsors. So, LSU Spring Game was today. I think that there are a lot of things that you can take away from this game. Let's break this down into three parts. We'll talk offense, we'll talk defense, and then we will just talk players that stood out to me as a whole today. I think a lot of things came to fruition in what we had talked about all spring, specifically in the interior of the defensive line. I'm going to address that clearly. We'll talk about that when we get to the defense. Let's start off offensively. Storyline of the day has got to be Garrett Nussmeier and those receivers and what they did offensively, not only throwing the football around, but what they did just from start to finish. LSU started off in the red zone, and it was something that you and I talked about pretty frequently, and you pushed back on. Now you got to see it. I do think that red zone is a place where LSU has got to get better at throwing the football. Let me explain. First play of the spring game in the red zone today was a pass breakup, swat down on a blitz from Major Burns in that star position. Guys, Major Burns made 3 stops today from that star position, being at the line of scrimmage. It is something that I like from him, but from the first play, they run that slot corner blitz or slot safety blitz, and it was a pass breakup. Williams has a run for 5, Taylor for 6, a power sweep. We'll come back to that when we get to more of the team stuff. Caleb Jackson goes for 4 and a first down, Anderson for 4, but Nuss on third down, 3rd and goal, misses Hilton in the back of the end zone. They turn it over. So, look, Nuss did not miss a lot of passes today. Actually, technically didn't miss any passes in the team drill today. But he did miss 2 in the red zone. So, again, both of them being either pistol situations, under center, he's got to get better there. Here's what I do like. LSU ran a lot of 12 personnel, 2 tight ends coming into the game. Mason Taylor along with Mac Markway. Both guys looked really good on the inline blocking. So I like that a lot. Oh, yes. I forgot to say that. Okay. Everybody do us a favor. Yeah, I did forget to say it. Everyone do us a favor by hitting the like and share. If you're on Facebook, share to all those groups, share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Yes. Share, and hit that like button if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or wherever you are listening from today. Second team, inside zone to Malachi Lane. Bad throw by Collins to Sampson in the back of the end zone. Pimpton broke a tackle for 13, but they didn't give him the first down. I think it was just a scripted scenario. Collins missed Sampson in the back of the end zone. So, 2 drives by your first and second team. You have no touchdowns. Okay, it is what it is. I mean, you're starting from your own 20. You're running about 5 plays. I don't think that that's fair for the offense. The third drive, though, for this offense in the red zone, the first play that they ran out of was 12 personnel. And what 12 personnel is, just in case you don't know, is 2 tight ends. Shotgun 12 personnel. It was a counter sweep where a lot of times where you saw your tackle in Will Campbell pulling and getting to that second level. The first play was Caleb Williams going to the end zone. or Caleb Jackson, going to the end zone untouched. So this is somewhat what we've seen a lot all spring, the pushing around of this defense. Getting an athletic guy like Will Campbell out into space is always going to be a big deal. Always going to be a big deal. It was today, as the first one that you had in the third team red zone period was a Caleb Williams. I mean, it was a Josh Williams. I keep saying Caleb Jackson. I keep mixing them up. Excuse me. Was a Josh Williams touchdown. Let me erase all of that. Was a Josh Williams touchdown. Then you turn right around, you put the ball back at the 15. P.J. Woodland has a pass breakup on Kyron Lacey. He looked pretty decent today. So another freshman that has stood up. Guys, he hasn't been here 2 months. Barely 2 months. And he's already running with the ones. Is the freshman from Hattiesburg. He had a pretty decent day. You had an inside zone run by Williams for 2 yards. You go back to 12 personnel, and you were unable to get any yardage out of that. They went under center, the bootleg action from Garrett Nussmeier. Savion Jones was in Garrett Nussmeier's face. He throws it away, and then he misses Hilton in the back of the end zone, and then the red zone period was over. Let's continue offensively because we got to get to this team. On the first drive, I thought, and really every drive, offensively, you physically dominated from the line of scrimmage to the wide receivers to the quarterback decision-making to everything around. You dominated today. Anderson had a quick hitch for 11. Williams runs for 10 yards. Greg Penn missed a tackle, had a broken tackle, was Williams on Greg Penn. A fade route to Hilton down the red zone, or down by the end zone, It was missed, barely missed, was that. But the fade route where it was off his hands, it was a flag that it was offside on LSU defensively. So Garrett knew it was the defense jumped off. He threw the fade route to Hilton, and they were unable to complete. Taylor goes for 5 yards on a quick stick route, and then Xavion Thomas for the 40 to 35-plus yard touchdown on the busted coverage by what appeared to be Sage Ryan. I mean, he was the only one in the area. I assumed he was the one. Let's start with that drive right there. Guys, they came out throwing the football all over the place. And I like that. I like that Aaron Anderson got a quick hitch. But the thing is, that's really interesting. Did you notice today how quickly in the first team they were rotating wide receivers? Outside of Kyron Lacey, guys, they were rotating a lot of dudes in there. That is why Xavion Thomas comes in with the first team and has that touchdown. But you rotated a lot. You had 1 run, 4 passes, and you get a touchdown. Collins comes in. You have to punt on 7 plays. You're unable to move the football. We'll talk about this defensively. I thought that the second-team defense was a lot better than the second-team offense, and it wasn't even remotely close. But there was nothing really that happened in the second drive with Collins that really stood out to me. The only thing that stood out to me was defensively. And Kylan Jackson, which we'll talk about in just a moment, okay? Third drive. So the first team comes back in and with Nuss, and Kyron Lacey goes for 35. Let's stop right there. Guys, he's been the best player this spring. I mean, Kyron Lacey, for whatever it's worth, I mean, I understand that he had drops last season. He had him in 22. Guys, he's been the best player on the field. And I think for all the talk that we've had about Kyron Lacey, all of it, it showed itself today in the spring game. His first catch of the day was a 35-yard bomb by Nussmeier that he beat in zone coverage, where he runs more or looked like a dig route. I'd have to go back on film and look at it, but he runs a dig, but he, instead of going to the sideline, he squats down because nobody is remotely around him, so then he has area to work. He gets the catch. He goes for 35. Williams goes for 4. You have a screen pass on the very next play. So a motion by Aaron Anderson, and You have a screen, and Harold Perkins comes like a bat out of hell and gets a TFL. And then 3rd and 8. Here's the big play. Here was the biggest play of the day for me. I know that Nuss had a 75-yard bomb. I get it. But Caleb Jackson on 3rd and 8 in a counter run play, Caleb Jackson goes for 35, 40-ish and a touchdown. Guys, the interior of your defensive line is not good. Again, we'll get to them in just a moment, but this offensive line is physically dominating from start to finish. And when I look at them, guys, you're going to, on Monday, you better relentlessly hit the portal. It's not good, and it's not just one person. It's not just one person that's in there that's not doing good. Guys, when you're 3rd and 8 and Caleb Jackson on a counter run does not get touched, shades of Florida and Ty Davis Price today. Right? Like, I mean, shades of TDP. It's exactly what we've seen all spring. It's not good enough. You are not going to be good enough and go where you need to go if that continues to happen. Secondly, since we're talking offensively, guys, Caleb Jackson's a freaking dude, man. He is a freaking stud. I cannot say enough about him. I think that there's going to be so much hype going into the season with him, and good on it, because he deserves all of it. He's going to be a load to stop. He is a physical runner, but once he gets going and once he turns on the Jets, you will not catch him. So 3rd and 8, Joe Sloan decides to give it to the running back, and they score. 4th, you go to Swan. Guys, I thought A.J. Swan had one good drive. Look, he didn't do much. He had a swing pass to Nichols for 30 yards. Jair Brown has a PBU on Sampson, who they tried to feed the ball to today. Joe Sloan tried to get Shelton Sampson involved. He couldn't make enough plays. He goes to Nichols for 4. He misses a fade route to C.J. Daniels. And then on a 3rd down, Kylan Jackson gets a sack. So both quarterbacks in the first half, they looked okay. They looked moderate. I mean, nothing. I thought Ricky won the day, if I'm being honest, but neither one of them were productive enough. And God bless it. I don't know if that's remotely on them solely, but I will say that we saw Collins with the first team, and it was not remotely the same or close. And you look at a guy like Ricky Collins and say, look, man, you might have to wait for him to continue to progress. And you did the same thing for Nussmeier, and look how it's paying off. Look how it's paying off. So, yeah. I only charted going through halftime because of the running clock. They didn't do much after half. But Collins comes back in. He comes in with the first team. He gets sacked. Jackson rushes for 9. Pimpton goes for 9. Colin Jackson has another sack. So you have back-to-back drives where you have, in that star position, Kylan Jackson coming in on a blitz and getting a sack. Big-time day for 23. Big-time day for 23. You get a rush for no gain, and then a ball is batted down, and you are unable to convert on 4th down. Collins comes back out for the first team. Nothing happens. He gets a scramble for no gain, a catch by Williams for 3, and a rush by Williams for 3. On 4th and 7, they go for it, and Ashton Stamps has a PBU on Kyra Lacey, and that would pretty much be your half. So here's what I think about the offense as a whole as we look at them through the spring game, or especially just through the first half. Garrett Nussmeier was very efficient. They did a lot of the same stuff that they did in that bowl game, and you're not necessarily or completely missing I think, a beat right now from the passing game. I do think that they are doing different things in the running game, and he's got to get better under center at times. Other than that, and like we've talked about all spring, look, they've been efficient. They've been highly efficient. I've never been worried about them offensively because of what your O-line looks like. Secondly, guys, this might be the best offensive line not only in the country or not only in the SEC, it might be the country. Guys, you might make an argument as we go into the season and we go through the season, they might be the best offensive line that we've ever had here. That's how good that they look right now. Let's see if they can continue to put things together, but they dominated today. I mean, I love some of the schematical stuff that Joe Sloan did today, specifically with the counter buck sweep type actions, with pulling your guard and tackle and doing a pull and pin and making yourself a crease, because you have two very athletic offensive linemen, and Dellinger getting to the second level and Will Campbell getting to the second level. And guys, when you needed it most, that running game destroyed the interior of that offensive line. Thought DJ Chester was fantastic today. You didn't notice a snap being off. I think he made some right calls on a pressure or two. That unit, man, that unit is looking better than anything. And when you can run the ball that effectively, you will be dangerous. You will be highly dangerous. I thought the running backs looked good. I thought Williams and Jackson looked really good. Thought Malachi Lane gave you some good reps. But look, even you have Caden Durham coming in. God forbid if Trey Holly comes back. I think your running game is going to be fine, if I'm being honest. Now, I don't think that you're going to play an interior defensive line that's that bad every week. But as this continues to go on and as spring is over with, the biggest unit that won was the running backs and the offensive line. You pretty much knew what Garrett Nussmeier would give you, and he did. But this offensive line, from the first time that they strapped up that helmet to the end of the snap in this spring game, they dominated. And good on them. Let's move on over to the defense. I'll get to your comments. Do we have any super chats in here? No? All right, if you want your comment read, you can bring in a super chat. We'll do some phone calls right after. So want your comment read, send in a super chat, and if you want to call in a little bit later, we will get to that as well. Defense. So I'm not going to go back over the plays. But, guys, it was what it was. I mean, I thought that at the boundary, at corner, you made some really good plays. I thought Greg Penn, outside of that bad tackle, had some really good plays on some of those short runs. But the problem was that the interior of the defensive line was so bad. Now, the busted coverage was both busted coverages were something that you just can't have, man. And I know that you have a new staff, you have a new defense, and everything is new. But, man, that's two blown coverages, what appear to be by Sage Ryan. One we know for sure. The Kyron Lacy 75-yard bomb, I mean, and we didn't even talk about that offensively. But this Kyron Lacy 75-yard bomb is cover two. Garrett Nussmeier knows it's cover two and is literally saying, I know that Kyron Lacy is better than Sage Ryan. I am going to throw it to Kyron Lacy. And he does. And, guys, it's a 75-yard touchdown. Those types of things cannot happen. And so now you have to ask yourself the honest question. Is it personnel or is it scheme? Because I know that you've only had 15 practices with Blake Baker, and things can get better. And I think they will get better. I still have a lot of faith for this defense because of the talent that they have. And you saw it with a lot of guys on the second team, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I look at this secondary and say, man, it's not good enough. You're going to have to pull some of these experienced guys for a guy like Kylan Jackson, for a guy like Deshaun McBride. Because if you don't, you're going to go into another year where you get roasted. Guys, I don't mind if Kyron Lacy is going off on you. I expect him to go off on you. What bothers me from a coverage aspect is that you're getting beat and blown coverages. The Xavion Thomas, what did Nussmeier do that was so, like, it's not like Nussmeier scrambled. Now, he got up in the pocket. He bought some time, got up in the pocket, threw it to Xavion Thomas. But that should not have stopped anything. When it comes to a guy like Nussmeier, defensively, you have to know. You have to know that let him take off and run. Don't give up the bomb to Xavier Thomas for a score. If you're in cover two, the only thing that you have, if you're in cover two and you're Sage Ryan, don't let anybody behind me. That, guys, quite honestly, that is day one high school installation. Okay? Now, could you give Sage Ryan the benefit of the doubt that he maybe didn't get a call in time? I don't know. But everybody else on the field was running cover two besides Sage Ryan. If it's a communication issue, okay? If it's a communication issue, then maybe I will live with it. But when you have what you had a year ago, and guys, we're talking about basic cover two. Basic. Guys, cover two and coverage outside of man is by far the most simple shit that you can run. Safety takes this half, doesn't let anybody behind him. The other safety takes that half, doesn't let anybody behind him. And your corners are going to stay in the middle within 10 yards. So from the first down marker to the line of scrimmage is going to be theirs. That is legitimately it. And if you cannot effectively run that, we have a problem. Let's get to the interior defensive line. I see that we have a super chat in here, and we'll get to it. I took a lot of your criticism and rolled with it. You said, stop talking about the interior defensive line. Stop talking about the interior defensive line. If I'm talking about the defense and what they did today, tell me in the chat right now what you want me to talk about. Guys, they got obliterated. It's not just one person. And quite honestly, I don't know if I can make a full judgment on a guy like Perkins. Like, for example, Perk there was the swing pass to Aaron Anderson. From being an inside middle linebacker, Perk identified it, read it, got out into the flat, and had a TFL on Aaron Anderson. It's a great play from a backer. When it comes to a running game, I don't know how I can judge Harold Perkins right now. I have no clue. Because the guys in front of him are getting beat that bad. Guys, it was a beating. And I know that Brian Kelly said that we're going to go in the portal and on Monday and start addressing this. You better, because you're just not good enough there. And listen, if you want to get where you want to go, I would assume that everybody believes that LSU is a place where you need, especially with a 12-team playoff, you need to be in the playoff every year. That is who you are. You win games on both lines of scrimmages. That's how majority of teams will always win. It's how Georgia won back-to-back national titles. It's how Michigan won a national title last year. Quite honestly, and a lot of times you won't give them credit, it's how 2019 and 2020 LSU and Alabama did it too. They were really good on both lines of scrimmage. Now, Burrow's a whole different animal, and I get you. That's why he's right here. I'm with you that Burrow was a different animal. You won a lot on both lines of scrimmage. If you want to get where you want to go, if you want to make a playoff, you got to get better there. If you do not, it's going to be a long season. Screw the busted coverages. Screw the coverages in general. Because I saw things today from guys like P.J. Woodland. Right? Like I saw today that P.J. Woodland is who we thought he could be. Playing a lot of man-to-man, bump and run coverage, looked fantastic. He has all spring. I saw Ashton Stamps not look too bad either. Coverage is going to be what it is. And if a guy busts the coverage, he's got to go. There's too many talented guys that you've recruited. You got to put them in there. But the biggest issue on this team, the biggest issue that Brian Kelly has ever had, I know that he had 39 scholarship players when he first got here. I will tell you, not as big of an issue. That was not, in my opinion, Blake's lost his damn mind. I knew that he could go in the portal, and he was going to have to go in the portal and get a lot of dudes. He hit on a lot of them. The biggest weakness that he's had, even more than special teams in year one. Guys, now you saw it today for your own self. Now you saw it today for your own self. I don't know, man. I don't know. So, yeah. All in all, I think it was a good day for you as a team. Defensively, it was not good. Now, let me talk about the second team. The first team got obliterated. Let's call it what it is. The second team, though, made some really good plays. And I think that you saw where you have talent. Guys, Gabe Rutherford had 2 sacks today. Big time. That is big time. From the freshman. Kylan Jackson had 2 sacks in 2 series in back-to-back series. On the 4th drive, he got a sack on A.J. Swan. Okay. But for whatever reason, they called that back. They blew the whistle. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to give it to him regardless, but they did not give it to him. The very next play, it's 3rd and 4, and Kylan Jackson has a PBU on Shelton Sampson. Guys, if he's going to do that, if your safety can go up one-on-one against a kid that's 6'4", 6'5", and that can run and be physical and get a PBU and knows his assignments, I got to be real with you. You got to play him over Sage. In the 6th drive, he gets a sack on Ricky Collins. And before that, he was the one that stopped Kylan Jackson after gaining 9 yards on a busted run. If he does not make that tackle, we would have talked about Caleb Jackson in a second on another run. Thought Deshaun McBride looked good. You notice how every quarterback went away today from Deshaun McBride? That stuff was not thrown in his general direction. You want to know why that was? Your safety room's got a lot of talent. And your second unit had a lot of talent on it. I thought the Weeks brothers didn't look bad at linebacker. But I think, BK said this in his press conference on Thursday. We're going to rotate in all four linebackers, both Weeks brothers and with Perkins and Penn. And they're going to have to. So the second and third team looked a lot better. I think that's to be expected, though, in a lot of ways. But, yeah. All right, let me give you some of my the guys that I thought had a great day. Obviously, we start off with Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, I guess LSU is going to say he went 7 for 7. I have something different, but it is what it is. In no specific order, Garrett Nussmeier won you the day. Guys, just picking up where he left off against Wisconsin, looked really good. Second, I'm going to give it to the entire offensive line on the first team. Looked fantastic. Dominated at the line of scrimmage. Dominated at the point of attack. On defense, Kylan Jackson had a sack and 2 pass breakups, technically, even though he should have had 2 sacks. Gabe Rutherford with 2 sacks. I thought Josh Williams looked good. Looked like himself. Caleb Jackson looked good, had a couple big runs, and the TD. Kyron Lacey, of course. as well. And I thought that Kamarian Pimpton didn't look too bad either. Thought Pimp looked pretty good today too. Kind of got nicked up as well. But you want to know who the big winner is today? Let me tell you who the biggest winner of on anybody today is. LSU. You'll walk out with no injuries. You walk out of this game with no injuries. You're the winner. So I know that I'll go back and rewatch it. Obviously, we're talking about this live right after the game here. So I'm going to go back and rewatch it tonight and tomorrow and see what else more I can take from it. But that's what I take from it. All right, let's get to some of your comments, questions, and thoughts. T. Milb 23 with a $199 super chat says Sage Ryan needs to transfer or be replaced. I'm not going to tell the kid to transfer. He's been here a long time. What I am going to tell him is this. Look, man, you've had some really good practices. It's just not good enough. Guys, that today is not good enough. And you hope that Jake Olson can work with him and get him better. But, guys, again, we're talking about two. Now, I don't know about the first coverage, right? I would even say it's 50-50 on the Xavion Thomas. It looks like Sage Ryan blew the coverage. I don't know the call. So we'll see. When we get the all 22 copy, we'll see whose coverage it was. The second one, though, 1,000% was his fault. The Kyron Lacey touchdown, 70-something yard touchdown. Guys, again, what do you want me to say here? It's basic cover two. It is as simple as being a safety. Let nobody behind you. Let nobody behind you. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, I thought C.J. Daniels looked good too. He had 4 broken tackles today with C.J. Daniels, the transfer from Liberty. I want to see him with the first team more before – I want to see him with the first team. You're going to have to give him some reps there come fall. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. Charles says that spring games and the defense was very vanilla. Okay, so Charles, let me ask you this. If things were very vanilla today by both sides, by the way, I do not think it was very vanilla, if I'm being real with you. You showed a different running game that you have not shown under Brian Kelly. If things were vanilla today, then why did you have 2 blown coverages? If things were vanilla today, why were two coverages blown? What's going to happen when you get Rocky Road chocolate chip up in this motherfucker? What's going to happen when you're not vanilla? What's going to happen when you go to what's your grandma's ice cream? 3 flavors? I know everybody's Meemaw had the 3 flavors ice cream. You got the strawberry, the vanilla, and the chocolate. Every grandmother had it in the country. And if you're only vanilla and you're getting beat like that, that makes it worse. GE3. You know what we're going to do here too? We can take some phone calls if you'd like. 225-435-9387. 225-435-9387 is the phone number you can call into. So if you want to call in the spring game, we will allow you. We did these all throughout the post games during football last year. Lance said, how do you think that Jordan Gilbert looked? I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked fine. I don't know if I'm going to say Pimpton looked like I don't know if I can say Pimpton looked like Kyle Pitts. Chili says, talk about Javen Nichols and JT Lindsey committing. Javen Nichols will not play, in my opinion. I thought he looked good. I don't think he'll play. He had some really good plays today. I think if you need somebody in a crunch, he will play, but I do not think that he will play, unfortunately. But did make some really good plays. The swing pass that he had, I mean, he looked like he could play here. I just think he's got probably 6 or 7 dudes more talented than him, and I think they'll roll with those 7. In reference to JT Lindsey committing, the running back from Alexandria, we talked about him, I think, last night or 2 nights ago. Big time pickup. I think the kid can really play. I think that some running backs in the state need to stop playing games, and this is the byproduct of that. I still think that they take 3 running backs if they wanted to. But a big-time commitment. I think the kid, here's what I'll tell you. Was told by somebody on staff today before he committed that they think that he's a top 10 back in the country. Like, they fully believe that he's a top 10 back in the country. And they wanted to see him again as a senior, but the kid put on some weight. He's around 190, 195 now. And I think after what happened today, I think that Frank just was like, listen, let's do this dance. And the kid wants to be here. Is, like a lot of people were telling me how emotional he was when he committed. I think he's a kid that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I worry about him in pass blocking, which I do every kid that comes here, but not named Caleb Jackson because I know he can do it. But speed, hands, one burst ability, he will make a cut. Like, watch his film. Guys, the one cut ability by JT Lindsey is absolutely phenomenal. Is 1,000% phenomenal. So, yeah, big-time commitment from the Tigers today. A freak on YouTube with a $20 super chat says, need 4 defensive tackles, 2 corners, 1 running back, and 1 QB. I don't necessarily disagree with the defensive tackles. I don't know if you need those corners. I think maybe you would get 1. Now, remember, Freak, BK said they're only going after defensive tackles, even though I don't know if I necessarily agree with him after today. Here's what I believe. Here's what I fully believe. Let me get to the final. He says 1 cornerback, 1 running back, and a QB. Let me say this to Freak. Thank you so much, Chili, T-Milb, and Freak for the super chats. Freak, here's what I'll tell you. I'm not calling BK a liar. I think he is playing poker and bluffing. I think if the right safety went into the portal, they will go after him. Now, here's another thing. All right. We'll just have the commitment thing ready. All right. Thank you, guys. Here's the other thing. I think he's playing poker. If the right safety goes in there, they'll get him. I think the same thing about corner. I think the same exact thing about corner. I agree with you on the running back. I don't think that they'll go after a quarterback. Unless you process Ricky Collins, but you're not going to process Ricky. I don't think that they're going to process Ricky. I mean, you heard today. I mean, BK said that he thought he made the biggest leap offensively than anybody. If BK says that, he's not going to process the kid. He's not going to process the kid. Yeah, guys, just have it ready. Thank you. All right. Sorry, I can't talk when people are in my ear. Penn Jones says with a $4.99 super chat says, how was the pressure from our defensive ends? I thought fantastic today by Gabe Relaford. I thought that there were twice, if you notice, and I'll go back and watch this, Penn. Thank you so much for the super chat. I thought that Deshaun Womack gave at times, and Swenson gave Will Campbell a little run for his money. Couldn't get there, though, because Garrett was so quick with the ball out of his hand. And that's the issue. Because the DBs are blowing coverages, you're not having any time to get to him. I mean, there's nothing that the edge guys can do. There's nothing that Harold Perkins can do. Quite honestly, guys, Von Miller, LT, nobody could have gotten to Garrett Nussmeier on that fade route to Kyron Lacey because of that blown coverage. So, again, there are parts of this defense. I got to be real with you. There are parts of this defense that I don't know if I can make a right assessment on because of how bad the interior defensive line and some of those blown coverages are. How can I make a right – let me ask you all this question. How can I make a right determination on them when you're blowing a coverage? When Garrett takes a two-step hitch on – go snap, 1-2, and he's throwing a fade, and it goes for 75. What do you want me to make a play out of that on? What do you want me to make a play out on when he pushes up in the pocket because both defensive tackles get out of assignment? Because, by the way, both of them were out of assignment on that touchdown. One of them's got to stay in the middle lane. You got to stay in the A-gap. You can't let DJ Chester clap your cheek and push you up so that Garrett can step up. It's not good enough. Let me tell you something as a center. If I see and I feel that everything is being pushed out and my quarterback needs to push up in the pocket, I am going to go to the nearest defensive tackle and earhole him so that Garrett can push up. DJ Chester is playing like a dude more experienced than the age that he is. You got to have a defensive tackle that stays in his gap. Oh, Blicky took on a double team. I don't give two Rudy Poos. I could care less. It's your job. All right. Yes, 225-435-9387. I hope nobody's calling. I hope that nobody's calling. You can call in. 225-435-9387. I will put it inside of the chat that way that you have it. So you can call in. Let's see here. There it is right there. So we have the sniffles at the Ruffino household, which is bugging the shit out of me. KJ with a $5 super chat says, do we still pursue Simon with Lindsey's commitment? I say, heck yes, we do. I still think that you do, KJ. I still think that you do. To be real with you, I would take three backs. If all three backs were okay with you taking all three of them, I would take all three. Now, if Harlan Berry said, not so fast, I'd be like, okay. I would take, and quite honestly, I don't think that there's a massive drop-off, if any drop-off, with Lindsey and Simon, even though I think Simon's really good. He's got to, if Simon's got to poo-poo or get off the pot. And I think that's what happened here. LSU's not waiting anymore. This isn't the old school LSU recruiting where they'll wait for guys a lot of times. We want you committed. Now, they'll pursue talented guys like Gabe Relaford, who had 2 sacks today, and obviously Dominic McKinley. Here's another thing about the interior defensive line. The most unfair thing for any player on next year's team will be Dominic McKinley. It's everything that he does is going to be unfair to him. Because you need Dominic McKinley to come in here and play immediately. And it's unfair, really. Georgia has 2 interior defensive tackles. Neither one will start unless out of necessity. It's not good enough. It's not good enough there. And that has been the problem that you have had with having a rotation at your defensive tackle spot. That has been your issue. Oh, I love these text messages into the show. Blake, can you stop cursing? No, I will not. Danny Girl with a $4.99 super chat says, is there a scenario where Swan jumps back into the portal after the spring game and we look for a more solid TP quarterback to challenge for that second spot? Could easily happen. Could very easily happen. I could see that. He did so. He was not good enough today. Ricky outperformed him. And I think when it's all said and done, I thought, and I was wrong, I thought that A.J. Swan would win the job. I'm going to be real with you. I was wrong. Ricky proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. Maybe he does. I don't know. Here's what I'll say too, Danny. Ricky has had more time than A.J. has. And there does come a part where, and I'll ask this question. How fair is it to A.J. Swan that he's been here for 6 weeks? I don't know how fair it is to him either. It's not as easy as come in, plug in, play. He's learned a new system. He's learned new receivers. Where Ricky has had time. And I don't think Ricky was phenomenal either. I don't think Ricky looked great. I think he looked serviceable. But he was not great. At all. Shontavius McKinney says, what did PJ the freshman do at DB? He had a couple of pass breakups. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked really good. Kid, look, man. I've been pretty high on PJ Woodland for a long time. And I don't like when he committed, people were like, Blake, he's a 3-star. I don't give two shits. Kid has no business being a 3-star. You want to know why PJ Woodland was a 3-star? Let me tell you why. Because people in the big recruiting services historically don't come down to Louisiana or Mississippi. And the people that they rely on for scouting aren't that good. They're not that good. Guys, he was a 6A player of the year. He was a Mississippi Gatorade player of the year. Here's the thing with PJ. He's got to put on some size. Can he make it through a season? When it comes to bump and run coverage, he might be, quite honestly, the best one that you have out there on the boundary. At least this spring, there's not been a better one. So he looked good. He had a really good pass breakup on Kyron Lacey. And then he had a very veteran move in the red zone where he did not touch Chris Hilton, but he used his speed to make Chris have to make an adjustment and ran with Chris Hilton stride for stride in the back of the end zone. So you're talking about a freshman running against a guy who, guys, quite honestly, is probably, I think Chris Hilton will go to a combine or at minimum at a pro day and will run a 4.2. 4.28, 4.29, something like that. Maybe even better than that. Chris Hilton can fly. PJ Woodland was with him stride for stride in the back of the end zone. As a freshman, I think the kid can play. I think he'll continue to play. I think he's your number one DB right now, or at corner. I don't think you have anybody else better than him, be honest with you. I think Jair will move into the slot. If you need a big nickel, and look, you know who we have not talked about today too is I don't think that we've talked about Major Burns. Guys, when do you see Major Burns get beat today? Major Burns being on the line of scrimmage, I thought was fantastic. Outright fantastic. So good for Major. I'm happy for him because he was put in a very bad position, very, very bad position last year. Him being along the line of scrimmage, he had the pass breakup first play, had a stop on Caleb Jackson, and then had another stop on Caleb Jackson. Both generated, I think, only 3 yards, and he had a PBU. Other than that, I mean, he did his job. He 100% did his job. The question becomes, can you find a better safety? Let me know, guys, if y'all are calling in because we have not gotten any phone calls, and it might be on us. It might be on us. I don't know who phone number this is, but it says, Blake, what do you think of the little we've seen from Colin Hurley? I like what I saw from Hurley today. I like what I saw. Adam Martin with a $5 super chat says, I thought Colin Hurley looked better than Ricky and AJ, just my opinion. Here's the thing about Colin that a lot of people didn't give him credit or did not give him credit for. Kid can spin it. Kid can really spin it. It's what we talked about on Thursday or Wednesday. I forget which day it was. I think it was Thursday. Of all of them not named Garrett Nussmeier, when it comes to being a pure thrower of a football, Colin Hurley is better than all the other two. He's 17. And I don't know if you're at any guys, if we're going to a 17-year-old at any point next year. And look, the touchdown throw, I know that Kai Preand is going up against a walk-on corner. I get that. But he's got pressure in his face. He got Gabe Rutherford who hit him. Guys, there's a reason they had a white jersey on him. They let him get hit. And he throws a fade route, touchdown. Accurate. Kid can spin it, man. Kid can really, really, really spin it. I think that he got put in a situation where, and for whatever reason, for whatever reason, people are down on him. But he can spin it. I think we need to give him – you got to give him time. I would redshirt him. I would not even remotely come close to playing him unless all hell broke loose. And all hell will have to break loose for him to play. But he's not ready. So thank you, Adam, for the $5 super chat. Looks like Ben G is coming in here making a lot of issues, Ben, about Decorian Moore. Yeah, it's funny. On Wednesday, I came on the show and said Decorian Moore will not be going to Ohio State, and everybody's like, Blake doesn't know what he's talking about. And then he didn't go. Nah. Huh. I'm going to leave that alone. If you want to know my exact thoughts, go to ayssnetwork.com/forum. You'll know exactly what I think. Hakeem says, how did JK and Jair look at corner? We didn't see a lot from JK. They didn't throw in his direction. What about Jair Brown look at corner? Any word on Alexander? I don't even know if Zai will make it to the beginning of camp. And we forget about him, and that's my fault. I don't think he'll make it to the beginning of camp. Guys, he tore his ACL in the middle of football. And that is as someone who tore it twice, unless he just goes off and has a great offseason when it comes to maybe he can be back for fall camp. Maybe. That's about a 6-7 months turnaround, 8-month turnaround. Maybe he could do that. But that's going to be tough. Jair had the pass breakup on Shelton Sampson. Let me look at it. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Swan, fade route, Sampson, back of end zone, Jair Brown, PBU. Only time that we saw him today. They had been playing him in the slot, though. That was a little bit intriguing. They had been playing him in the slot. And he had been blitzing a lot. So interesting that he was out there at boundary. They did not throw at JK. Did not throw at him. So we didn't really get to see him a lot. Did not really get to see him. All right, let's get to a couple more of y'all's comments. Corey Rogers says he's not going to be catching balls from anyone at Texas. I guess y'all are talking about Decorian Moore again. Mark Spell says, with defensive tackle play so bad, why was BK calling praising Guillory earlier? I don't know. Maybe trying to gain their confidence. That's BK. See, here's what I've learned about BK. BK plays a lot of poker with the media. And I don't mind the lies if I'm being real with you. It's not necessarily lies because I think he says a lot of truths. But when you ask him something that's bad about his team, or not necessarily, I think that he's trying to gain confidence because he called out the wide receivers after practice one. He came out and said that the wide receivers aren't performing good enough. And what happened? Kyron Lacey went stupid. Oh, who ain't performing? Shit, watch this. So I think sometimes BK uses the media to get to his players. And I think he did that with Jacobian. But, guys, you saw it today, right? Like, everything that we have talked about all spring. Name one thing that when we talked about the interior of the defensive line, what was wrong? Nothing. The only thing that I will walk back on and have to walk back on is that I did not think that Ricky would win, and he won this spring. I got to give him that. I just thought that the experience that A.J. Swan would overtake Ricky, but I also don't think it's completely fair to A.J. that he's only been here for 15 practices. But Ricky won it, and good on him. Good on him for winning it. Still think you got to get better in the red zone. But the interior defensive line, guys, y'all saw it today. I mean, when I came out here and we went to those Saturday practices, I had a lot of you in here telling me that you did not believe that those running backs didn't get touched. Look at what happened today, man. Look at what happened today. So, yeah. Alex says, thoughts on little we saw of Colin Hurley? Yeah, we just got to that. Hakeem says, how did Kyle Parker look? Kai Pre and Shelton Sampson look today. We did not see Kyle Parker today, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, that's interesting. We did not see Kyle Parker at all. Huh. Hope young man don't hit the portal. Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we saw 12 on offense all day today. Huh. That's interesting. Corey says, Blake, would you please be so kind to get rid of the Texas? Oh, God. Guys, don't say words like that in here. GE3 says, any recruiting scoop aside of Lindsay? We talked about that. Jenkins says, surely they didn't beg Sage to come back. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess they did. I guess they did. All right, Ben G. See you, buddy. You've been muted. You can still watch the show. You've been muted. Corey Rogers says, yeah, send me that number. Guys, come on, man. Come on, bro. What are y'all trying to get numbers so that y'all can fight? Come on, dude. Corey, come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Charles says, during the press conference, Kelly described the defensive performance as lacking creativity and dynamism. Dynamism. He said that today. It's a spring game. Huh. Well, y'all up in the comments. Damn, this dude talking. He trying to push his own business. Bye-bye. Danny Girl says best play of the day, duck, duck, goose, in the celebration at the end of the is still a game. Glad that's fun for him. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it was funny. Good celebration. Very good celebration by them. All right. No call-ins. Surprised. Very surprised. By the way, LSU just came out with their starting lineup today. Milazzo is in for Brady Neal. Milam back at second base. Kling at center. Braswell at short. Larson, Jones, and White still in the top three. So Jones, White, Larson, Bingham, Travinsky, Braswell, Kling, Milam, Milazzo. Good, because I don't think Brady Neal needs to be behind the plate. Good. Matthew Stock says, who do you see being the starting running back? I'm going to give you a hot take. I think it's going to be Josh, but I think that I think Caden and Caleb will get a lot of carries. A lot of carries. How did Perkins look? I thought Perk looked. I thought Perk looked fine, but you can't. I don't think. And see, this is what happened. Let me finish it off with this about Perk. I don't think it's fair for on Perkins's behalf. I don't think it's necessarily fair. Because last year against Florida State, they ran a lot of those counter sweeps, and you had a lot of, or counter zones, I should say. You had a lot of action with the backside guard and the backside tackle pulling. They essentially did the same exact thing today, and Perk couldn't make, number one, Perk couldn't make the play, mainly due to the fact Perk couldn't make the play, mainly due to the simple nature because his interior defensive line is played like Dookie water. If BK really came out today and said and talked about creativity in a spring game, we're gonna have to bean count that. We're gonna have to bean count that. Huh? DeCorian Moore was at a 7-on-7 event this weekend. How about that? And yet y'all still believe national reporters. They got to buy you in somehow. How about that? All right. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good day. I'm going to be watching UFC 300 and some LSU baseball. Y'all have a fun day. Can't believe we didn't have a call in. Set all that up and for nobody to call in. Y'all broke my heart. Completely broke my heart. See y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.